actually end extreme poverty? Well, won't the poor always be with us? I mean, it's a dog-eat-dog world, right? Except poverty rates are falling in every region of the world, and dogs don't eat other dogs. Let me tell you why I believe it is possible to end extreme poverty in the next 15 years, and how we can reach even those we're excluding today. I was born in the bayous of New Orleans, Louisiana, raised on the edge of Henderson Swamp in the Atchafalaya Basin. At age 30, I got this incredible chance to go and live and work in Bangladesh. And I learned there that Bangladesh is a lot like Louisiana. Yeah, I know a lot about swamps. And Bangladesh, full of rice and sugarcane in a delta country with massive hurricanes there they call cyclones, a lot of mosquitoes, spicy food, corrupt politics, and on the bottom of every list of human development, at least back then in the 80s. But with half the population of the United States packed into a state the size of Louisiana. It was there that I first confronted extreme poverty. I'll never forget meeting this woman. She hadn't eaten anything for 3 days. She'd only drunk the water that her neighbor had boiled the rice in because there was some residual nutritional value. After talking and meeting with hundreds of people who were living on that jagged edge, I had to answer a fundamental question. To what is worth devoting your life energy? Raised with the golden rule of love thy neighbor as thyself, I struggled to figure out just who is my neighbor. I learned along the way that my neighbor is as close or as far as my heart can travel. I also learned a couple of very powerful lessons living in Bangladesh. One was social entrepreneurship, the other microfinance. They came together in this brilliant organization that was started in Bangladesh, known as BRAC, then the Bangladesh Rural Advancement Committee, created by a great social entrepreneur that you probably never heard of, Sir Fazli Hassan Abed. A wildly imperfect yet highly effective organization. They'd been on the front lines trying to defeat poverty for 30 years. 30 years. Health, education, water, sanitation, microfinance, job creation, growth. And yet, they still question themselves. Have you ever been to have you ever heard that there was a party going on and you weren't invited? Remember what that felt like? Yeah. Doesn't feel real good, right? We've all been left out or opted out at some point in our life. And that's what happened at BRAC. Some of the staff noticed that they were leaving some of the very poorest out of their programs, that they weren't joining those microfinance peer groups, whether out of lack of confidence or fear or disability and invisibility, or just that their neighbors didn't want them included in their peer group because they were perceived as too risky. So what BRAC did is decided to create a program designed for people like Rupa. Rupa was a 13-year-old girl, married by her father, widowed at 15, left with a son to feed who was 1 month old. She had to figure out how to cobble together a meal a day, working in other people's homes or families. So with Rupa and women like her in mind, BRAC decided to figure out how to find those people who were excluded and to put together a carefully sequenced set of interventions that would respond to those needs in a time-bound way. So the first thing is proper targeting. You can't reach people if you can't find and identify them. Using a lot of local knowledge, participatory wealth ranking, they were able to identify who were the most marginalized, vulnerable, and needy, and invite them into a program that gave them first a choice on what they could do to earn a living. And if they couldn't afford to borrow to pay for that asset, we gave it to them, whether it's a cow or goats or chickens or agricultural implements or a sewing machine, something that she could learn how to do to earn a living. With the training and the coaching and support, a connection to the financial markets through savings to begin to learn how to put something away, and very importantly, a consumption stipend so that she would actually eat enough every day to get the strength to help carry her out. And organizing a committee of better off people in her community that would look out for her. And so when she got attacked or beaten up or her goat was stolen, there was somebody she could go to for social support. For people like that, it required a big effort. 24 months. Do you think it's possible to actually transform a life in 24 months? Rupa did. Rupa, that girl I told you who was married at 13, widowed at 15, well, we found her. We invited her into this program. She chose to raise some goats and chickens. I know, goats and chickens, but it was actually a safe choice for her. And along the way, with the weekly visit from her BRAC coach, she actually found the spark, the curiosity, the confidence to say yes when we invited her to become a barefoot lawyer. And now today, Rupa is teaching other women just like her to become part of their own process of transformation. BRAC has been able to do this at a cost of $330 a year, 1.4 million times. But I know, this is a tough audience, and anecdotal evidence does not make a difference, right? It's not enough to have feel-good stories like Rupa to make global policy and to build a serious global strategy to eradicate extreme poverty. So fortunately, the Ultra Poor program has great data. From 2002 to today, we've got longitudinal data, London School of Economics and other reputable sources with randomized control trials that tell us over 95% of people who participate in this program actually graduate out of ultra poverty, meeting 10 criteria, and more importantly, 92% actually stay out of extreme poverty 4 years, 6 years later, and stay on an upward trajectory for economic progress. And the amazing thing is this is not about scaling one NGO program. It's about crowding in people who can actually scale an idea to end extreme poverty, to end exclusion, and to invite in all the players that we need, government, other microfinance organizations, and NGOs. Because most people graduate onto becoming microfinance clients, and it's built on a strategy of social protection. Very important that people have options and choice and a way to lift themselves out of poverty. So whether it's the studies through JPAL or IPA or LSE, we have got the data. It's not a panacea, don't get me wrong. Nothing is. But certainly, ultra-poor graduation deserves to be part of our global strategy to defeat poverty. Now we're back in the swamp. Why? Because we know what exclusion is about. And it's easy, actually, to feel empathy with somebody like Rupa and those incredible women who lift themselves out of poverty if given the chance, but they're just not invited to the party. But also, we are sometimes part of the excluded. We sometimes exclude ourselves by sitting on the sideline and not participating because we're overwhelmed by the swamp, the size of the swamp, the quagmire that is ultra poverty, the quicksand that today is Ebola. We're overwhelmed, we're afraid. We're afraid people are going to ridicule us because they think we're naive and utopian. We're afraid because we don't know how to plug in or connect. We feel powerless. We're stuck. And yet, every 3 seconds, somebody dies of extreme hunger and poverty. Mostly kids from preventable causes. What if every 3 seconds one of us decided to become part of this architecture of audacity, this global movement to end extreme poverty? What if we figured out how each of us could play a part and contribute to this? Friends, our neighbors need us. We know enough, we are rich enough, and together we are powerful enough. And if we're not, as Amy Cuddy told us, let's fake it until we become it.